Welcome to the Eclectic Thrifter and Crafter, where we thrift and craft with purpose. It's Tea Tuesday, or in my world, Crafty Tuesday. Pour yourself a cup of tea and join me in the craft room. Well, hello. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Today we are going to share a few minutes, and I'm going to visit a fellow content creator that I just discovered, and I'm so excited. We're going to take a trip into Marion's world. Marion is making a 100 days stitch journal. These are just a few pages. I believe she's up to day 15, and I'm very excited to catch up. I encourage you to visit Marion's channel and please like and subscribe. These wonderful pages are absolutely delightful. Marion's little book reminded me that I need to start working again on the crazy quilt that I started when my son was deployed. My oldest son was deployed to Afghanistan twice. For any mother, that's an anxious time. So to protect my heart and keep my mind occupied, I dedicated every month he was gone to learning a new craft. Many of those crafts I've reconstructed on the channel, as I did not have a YouTube channel at the time. From soap making to needlework. My mother passed away when I was 23, and as I was growing up, she was a working mother, so I really didn't have the opportunity to learn the things that she knew. My mother was very talented. This little new home box, I thrifted this winter for $1.50 at a fun little store in the next town over. Here we have a little selection of beautiful soap boxes that I put all my sewing and crafting gadgets in. From time to time, my friend Lisa passes on the boxes that she has empty, and I always find a use for them. I had 5 sons, but I taught all of my sons to mend, and when I had access to a sewing machine, I taught them to do basic sewing, because when they're on their own, they're going to have to mend things for themselves. So they each had a little sewing kit, and this one belongs to my youngest son, who turned 21 this year. He was actually looking for his sewing kit just the other day, but I had it. I love the little display that the colorful little boxes make on the bookshelf. This is for needle crafting, so I have each box labeled. And it's funny, when you have certain crafts, really you just need a small space to contain most of the little supplies. These needles are very sharp, and that's why I would not recommend this craft for anyone under the age of 12 or 13. This pad is for needle felting. That is about 1 inch thick, and it is solid wool. I do apologize for the camera bumping. I have a new armature that I need to mount separately from the craft table. Here is Dash, a little character from the Enola Holmes mysteries. We made him about 1.5 years ago, and he is needle felted. This is for crochet, and everything fits in here very nicely. For each little box, I made its own pin cushion, which it's just stuffed with flaxseed. I couponed all these little scissors, and I made this little holder for all of my little crochet hooks. I'm not really very successful at crochet, but I can do a few things. But it's nice to have an assortment of hooks. That's for knitting needles. My knitting skills are very limited. My mother was a master at it. At the craft fairs, I do sell knit coats for American Girl and Madame Alexander 18-inch dolls. This is my embroidery thread travel box. I do have a collection of all the colors. They are stored in bead boxes. This is a little winder for the tabs for the embroidery floss. It makes it very easy. You don't have the loose threads that you're sorting through. It makes it nice and orderly, and everything fits very sweetly in a bead box. It's a very simple and handy little gadget. You put the little stopper right there, and then you wind your floss. So simple. I have to say, I do love gadgets. I grew up watching Sewing with Nancy. Sadly, she passed away, but I think I developed a love for little sewing gadgets watching her program. These boxes are for my quilting supplies. I am very modest at quilting. It's one of the crafts I tried to learn. This is for English paper piecing. I had great goals, and I still have met many of them as far as the quilting goes, but these are all pre-set and ready for me to sew together. I did quilt about a dozen doll quilts. I sold my last one this last year. This summer I plan to make a dozen more, and that will last a couple of more years. This is beautiful embroidery floss. I found it thrifting just this last Sunday. They were $2 each, but it was a red tag day, so I received each one for $1. So I bought them all. There were only 4. These skeins of fancy threads were $1 each, and that was on a 50% off day last summer. I did share those before, but it was one of the last sales that they did 50% off on Wednesdays. This delightful little trinket box I saw last Saturday when we walked into town together. Julie and I we end at the thrift store that's just at the bottom of the hill, and it was $9. But the sale started on Monday, so I walked in very early Monday morning. So at their sale, I only end up paying $1 for it, because for every $20 you spend, you get $10 off. We found 2 more items for resale, and it was well worth the walk. I found this at St. Vincent's for $1 last year, and I'm going to put that in my stitchery book. So we'll set these aside. I made these when I was teaching an art class at my son's little school when he was quite young. We made a felt clock, and this story was the gingham dog and the calico cat. So I'll put those in the little book as well. This is where I keep all my ribbons. It is just a simple thrifted decorative box. Now we have reached the point where I can share why I'm so excited about discovering Marion's channel, and I'm very grateful to my friend Julie for sharing it with me. These are the squares I started when my son was deployed. I've always wanted to make a velvet crazy quilt, and this is what I learned. I just bought that little stitchery book and started learning the stitches one at a time. I did buy the book The Joy of Quilting. I try to budget myself. Every month I have a craft allowance budget that I give myself. And I learned a lot, I think. I think I did okay, and I'm hoping to get these all put together this summer and make a much larger quilt. I love the little beaded animals, the little spiders and the dragonflies. It was a lot of fun, and I do enjoy it, but my fingers do fall asleep. This little quilt block is probably my favorite. I love the little spider on the pink, and I love the little dragonfly. This box is not for travel, obviously. It's where I keep all of my components for ribbon embroidery and the buttons, the beads, and everything. I have my little sewing box that I made. This is a little centipede that I made. He's going to go on one of the blocks. He's absolutely adorable. I'm going to do a video very soon on how I made him. I am happy to share that with you. I save all my little pieces because you can use them for something. I know it might be a little obsessive, but that's just what I do. I'm not overly obsessive, but I don't like wasting anything. I found my silk ribbon on Amazon, and I made sure to buy the largest package that I could afford because I wanted this ribbon to last me a long time. And I made sure that each month I picked up one of every different size that I could find. It took a few months to put it all together, but it is worth it in the end to be patient and build up a good supply of items that you know you're going to use. These are the colorful buttons that I specifically selected for these quilt blocks. Some are glass, some are just the iridescent acrylic buttons. All of the beads and buttons have been thrifted. This string of buttons I've particularly put together for these quilt blocks as well. My son and I, when he was about 8 years old, we purchased 5 pounds of buttons. We've used most of them to make a lot of our button creations for the craft fair, but I still have quite a few left. Our next video milestone we have reached. Julie and I walked into town on Saturday, and from the thrift store down the hill we ended up going to have coffee downtown with my husband, and we dropped in at the little thrift store not too far away from the coffee shop, and lo and behold, she found the napkins that she'd been looking for to make her little stitchery journal. There were a lot, so Julie picked out what she wanted, and I took the rest. They were 49 cents each, and there were 23 napkins all total. I'm going to use these napkins for my stitchery journal, but I'm also going to use them as a foundation for little hand-punched miniature rugs for my 1/12 scale manor house. This is a craft that's new to me, and I'm excited to get started. I'll be able to work inside now that my build is nearly complete. I have all my little embroidery frames all preset and wrapped and ready to go. And this is where everything is stored. Buttons lives just below. I hope you'll visit Marion's World. I think you really will enjoy her channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. Share my thrifting and crafting channel with your thrifting and crafting friends. I welcome your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. Check us out on Instagram and tap that notification button for upcoming announcements of thrifts and crafts. But most of all, have a lovely, lovely day.